him a little more, and I
Mm.
would have had more compassion and sympathy for him
Mhm.
as opposed to not wanting anything to do with him because he lights that I cried so hard and so long that the next day it felt like I did a gym workout. I was in so much pain. Of pain all over again. And people, I would have women when I was at the park with the kids come up to me and go, "Good for you for sending that email.
So that was Garcelle Beauvais, apparently opening up about how discovering the real truth about Will Smith almost broke her apart. She made it sound like the moment everything clicked, her whole world tilted, and she couldn't pretend nothing happened anymore. And when she finally built up the courage to reveal what she says truly went down, people started looking at her like she was some kind of fearless champion. Someone was finally bold enough to say out loud what everybody else only whispered behind closed doors.
Have this dynamic that if we would go head to head a little bit, and then I would shut down.
Enjoying the video so far? Smash that like button and subscribe to Fame Drop so you're here for the next one. Will Smith has always been one of the loudest names bouncing around Hollywood, and it's never just because of his blockbuster movies. His personal life stays buzzing like it has its own PR team, and Jada keeps that spotlight locked on their family no matter what. But let's be real, people aren't still talking about him years later for small slip-ups. According to Garcelle, that smooth grin and superstar charm hide a version of Will that most people never get close enough to see. And the person she says she met behind closed doors felt nothing like the man the world cheers for. She claimed the guy who once had her genuinely impressed later turned into someone she barely recognized. And Will's name being tied to chaos? That's practically its own Hollywood storyline. Every time you blink, he's attached to some new rumor, some strange story, some headline that makes people ask, what now? Relationships falling apart, accusations popping up, whispers flying left and right. His name stays in the mix like it refuses to sit still. People still talk about how he was blamed for hurting Janet Hubert's career back when she left the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, and then there were fans convinced he and Jada were running some kind of open marriage setup, which kept the gossip mill spinning non-stop. It's like drama has him on speed dial. Garcelle might be one of the few who says she saw the version of Will that wasn't polished, wasn't camera ready, and wasn't trying to play the hero. And whatever she claims she witnessed kept her quiet for years. To some people, her words sounded unbelievable. Like, how could that Will Smith be caught up in something so messy? But others weren't surprised at all. They felt like it lined up with whispers insiders had been dropping for ages. Behind that red carpet smile, some folks claim they've seen him act in ways that don't match the Hollywood poster image, and they say his off-screen behavior isn't nearly as picture perfect. Lately, the stories about Will are starting to sound like reruns. If he's not being accused of pushing people out of Hollywood circles, then someone's hinting at him having questionable relationships with much younger adults he worked with, which always sparks heated conversations. And when it's not that, folks are calling his professionalism into question, saying he switches up on set, gets moody, or makes things unpredictable. No matter which angle you look from, his name always has some kind of storm orbiting around it. And if anyone would know, it's Garcelle. She's hinted that whatever went down between them hit her so hard she's never been able to fully shake it off, even after all these years. But what exactly happened that left her carrying that wound for more than a decade?
Little girl from Haiti, coming to the United States when I was 7. I didn't speak a word of English. I watched Sesame Street. That's how I learned English.
Will loves sharing his whole rise to the top tale, talking about how he went from the streets of Philly to living like Hollywood royalty. But when you stack his story next to Garcelle's climb, his journey starts looking way smoother because hers was on a whole different level. In her own book, she explains that when she first came to America, she couldn't speak even one word of English, not a single one. Imagine landing in a new country with no language, no connections, nothing, just pure willpower and a dream. The Haitian-born star had to rebuild her entire life from scratch, step by step. She learned English by watching Sesame Street, repeating words until they finally made sense, pushing herself every day like she had no choice but to shine. From there, she fought her way into modeling, then leveled up again until she became a full-on TV star. Her grind wasn't just hard, it was fearless.
And considering that he emancipated from their household at 16 and refused to come back even to do family interviews.
After her parents split, Garcelle's mom, Marie Claire, grabbed all 7 kids, including 7-year-old Garcelle, and moved them to freezing Massachusetts, throwing her into a world she wasn't ready for. The culture shock hit hard, but even without speaking English yet, Garcelle pushed forward like she had something to prove. She went from struggling with basic words to starring in major shows like The Jamie Foxx Show and NYPD Blue, which says everything about her hustle. A woman with that kind of drive doesn't get shaken easily, so when she says a man hurt her, you know something left a real impression. She's had relationships like anyone else, but the situation involving Will Smith is one story fans never stop dragging back into the spotlight, especially on The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Later, during her visit on the Las Culturistas podcast with Matt Rogers and Bowen Yang, she shared a few details about her short-lived 90s vibe with Will, keeping things honest but still low-key mysterious. She said she met Will while visiting the Fresh Prince set. She was the new actress on the rise, and he was already the cool TV icon everyone knew. "We went out a couple of times," she explained, making it clear she wasn't treating it like some big love story. But the moment that changed everything came during one simple phone call. Garcelle said she called Will one day, and he happened to be in the car with his son, Trey Smith. Then Trey, just being a kid back then, slipped out something innocent that told her Will's attention was already somewhere else. It wasn't anything wild, it was just a child speaking freely, but it told Garcelle everything she needed. She said, Trey suddenly blurted out something that made it crystal clear that Will's heart was already somewhere else. And that's when her spark for him shut off instantly. She added that Trey's little question, "Is that Miss Jada?" hit her with the reality check she didn't expect. Garcelle joked that she exit stage left, laughing about it now, but clearly remembering the sting behind it. The moment showed her she wasn't about to compete with anybody, especially someone who would later become such a central part of Will's life. But that wasn't the only interesting overlap. Will's ex-wife, Sherry Zampino, stepped back into Garcelle's life years later when she joined Raj as a guest, and the two clicked instantly. They talked about their pasts, their exes, and naturally, Will's name floated right back up again. Garcelle even joked that Sherry walked in saying, "Did you call me for backup?" which made the whole situation feel lighter and almost funny. As they bonded, people online started speculating about timelines and connections, creating theories that weren't always accurate but definitely stirred conversation. Some fans began wondering if Will had been juggling more than people realized back in the day, though none of it was ever confirmed by anyone involved. Then old Hollywood rumors about Will's friendship started resurfacing online. Nothing proven, just classic celebrity world buzz. People talked nonstop about how close he was with actor Dwayne Martin, pointing at their public outings, vacations, and business projects like All of Us, which Will produced and Dwayne starred in. Fans online made it sound bigger than it was, while neither Will nor Dwayne ever fed into the drama. Tisha Campbell later posted a message on Instagram saying, "The truth always comes out in the end," and added the caption, "And you're right, they will lie till the end. The real key, as people will stop believing them." The word "will" being capitalized had fans jumping to conclusions instantly. They turned it into a whole storyline, even though she never said who she was talking about. Over time, people also started revisiting Will and Jada's marriage ups and downs, especially after they later admitted they had gone through a long separation. Fans online connected dots that didn't need connecting, turning normal relationship struggles into massive conspiracy-style theories. And with all of that swirling around, some people even tried looping old rumors back to the time Will was casually seeing Garcelle, creating drama out of thin air. None of it was confirmed, but the internet doesn't need confirmation to run wild. By the time folks added fan theories, old gossip, and social media guesses, the whole story turned into something bigger than anyone expected. It left people wondering whether Hollywood's golden image ever matches real life, or if everyone's just seeing pieces of a puzzle they were never supposed to solve.